where it goes, man. I'm just not even going to worry about it. I've got a theory I've got an idea on what it wants to be, but it's like it goes where it goes. It's like today's topic is convergence of cycles. So, so that's what we've got. We've got convergence of cycles. We've got cycles. I've been listening to all kinds of stuff, and I've been hearing the convergence of cycles. We're talking 12,000 year cycles, 8,000 year cycles, 4,000 year cycles. 3,000, 2,000, 500, 800, 80 year. All these cycles are converging in the next 5 years. Yeah. So it's like we have cycle upon cycle upon cycle converging. Caught myself a really cool mockumentary today.
Mockumentary?
Yeah, it's when they do a documentary about something that's never happened.
Okay.
Okay, it's what they did was they did this mockumentary upon what would happen if the Earth was hit by a comet currently. How badly would the world be destroyed? And they're sort of accurate, I think, about how badly it would be knocked off its fucking ass. It's not like we don't have a major ass comet coming our way in the next year and a half. The blue Hopi diamond or Hopi star, the blue comet comet K2 is on its way to our ass right now. So not that it's really got a high opportunity of hitting us.
No, but it's going to swing by pretty close.
Yeah, well, close is, define close. It's not going to go in between the Earth and the moon. Anything in between the Earth and the moon is close. Outside the moon is not close. You got to remember space is pretty big. It's rather huge out there in space.
All right. I sent you the link for this song. I'm not sure if you got that one.
All right. Let's see what it is. Okay. Oh, Be Less White. I've seen this one.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Yes. Sean came across. I thought you would love it. It's actually pretty good. Guy's a good singer.
Yeah. Yeah, Be Less White. Yeah, I hadn't actually watched it yet. I just had lots of stuff there, and for some reason the volume's not on. There it is.
I'm just like, damn. The hatred is real. Can you imagine if we released a pamphlet called Be Less Black? Can you imagine if Coca-Cola did that? What would happen? Y'all, yeah. I'm from Mississippi. I don't care who you are, what walk of life you come from. We need to be less white.
Come on, just play. There you go. Hey, it's not a bad tune.
It's actually really well done.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I hadn't watched it, but yeah, it's a pretty funny song. Could probably bring that one up on ScrewTube.
I hope so. That'd be nice to be able to do.
Yeah. You could probably get away with playing that one without getting slapped by a copyright.
Hopefully.
Video. Be Less White. Where's he at? I've seen him. There it is, right there. We'll bring him over and we'll play
his nice little.
We'll play his nice little what?
I was just gonna say his nice little speech at the beginning is actually pretty good too.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna sit and watch this whole speech. All right, let's get this thing started up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go.
No service for you!
Okay, that's all fired up now. We are all set and ready to rock and roll to all 2 of our visitors out there, which we probably know who they are. So, this is what I'm going to do for you here. I need to pop and I need to give you so you can see the screen. This way, you're not waiting for a playback to see what I'm showing or what I'm talking about. So you need to look, you need to look at that screen. That way you can also listen to the videos or whatever through it too. and you're not waiting for 30 seconds to respond to something that you should be responding to immediately, considering we're on a 30-second delay through YouTube. That'll get me in all kinds of trouble. I decided to break my fast this weekend and drink a little beer.
What kind?
Numbskull.
Ah, nice.
Numbskull beer. Well, I hadn't had a drink since New Year's Eve.
Impressive.
I finally went, yeah, you know, I think I've gone long enough of recovering from the hangover from New Year's Eve. I think I'll have a beer. That was a long hangover. You know what's funny, though? When I went to get it, was the other reason I went is because it didn't cost me anything. I forgot. I was digging in my wallet. I pulled out the little card that gave me a free growler of beer, and I went, oh, free beer. Excellent. So I was talking to the guy, and he goes, yeah, we've been really slow the last month and a half or so. It's like everybody's cut back on their booze drinking. So, yeah, I can imagine why. You know, I looked at my last year spending on booze. It's like, holy crap, I could have bought myself 2 guns.
Yeah. Part of the reason, though, is because you buy good you buy good booze. You don't buy the cheap stuff.
Well, there's no point in buying cheap. I don't buy it just for effect. I mean, effect is nice,
yeah,
but that's not the whole reason I buy booze. I buy booze because I like the taste of it. If I wanted to buy it for effect, I'd just go buy Rainier beer. Rainier beer. It's an old commercial, man. That's what I drank when I was a teenager. All right, well, let's bring us on into some not doing time. It's time for some Days of Thunder, rocking into the show.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger. Choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
I do like that song.
It is a good song.
All right, well, let's get this show on the road. It is time for the Rogues Tavern Saloon Talk. I've decided to change the intro to this one because I want to differentiate this show from the other show.
Well, disassociate that from the other show works as well.
Dissociate, differentiate, all that good old stuff. It's episode 10 of Shooting the Shit at the Rogues Tavern. Today's show is Convergence of Cycles. The theme for today's show is the convergence of the cycles, both long and short. Over this last week, as I've been listening to my menagerie of YouTube videos and whatever, I keep hearing about all these different cycles, and I keep hearing these numbers, so I tried to start writing them down, but I didn't get enough of them down. But it seems that over the next 10 years, between now and 2031, we are having a 12,000-year cycle, a 8.2 thousand year cycle, a 4.2 thousand year cycle, a 2,000 year cycle, an 800-year cycle, a 400-year cycle, an 80-year cycle, all converging in the same 10-year time span. And
yes, I've been hearing a lot about that too.
This is just insane.
It kind of reminds me of those really trippy knots that the Celts used to make and how they all kind of converge together right around the center.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much where we're at now. It's just insane. And these are things that, by themselves were enough of a disturbance to humanity.
Yeah.
But combined together in a 10-year span.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a good word for it. Are you prepared? If not, go back a couple episodes and go listen to what things you need to do to get prepared. Yeah, well, this is just it. We've got so many cycles coming together. I've got a few things from it. Now, before we get too far down the rabbit holes, though, I do want to get the show, as we like to start it out, because I have decreed that it starts out with a reading from the King James Bible, just because it's fun and entertaining.
What are you reading tonight?
Tonight, we are reading from the Gospel according to St. John. I should have just said St. Me. The Gospel according to St. John, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. The same year for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but he was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believeth on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, and the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bare witness of him, and cried, saying, This was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have all we received, and grace for grace. There we go. We'll leave it at that. That's verse 1 through 17.
The writers would have completely failed English class today.
Oh, absolutely.
And they never would have made it as writers, man, because they're repetitive. They don't give you much information. They're just, it's interesting how so many people go right to the Bible like, oh, it's so amazing. It's beautiful. It's beautifully written. And no, they would fail today.
In some aspects of it. Some parts of it are really well written. Just some parts, not so much.
Overall, they would flunk English.
Yeah, well,
majorly.
They would. They would absolutely flunk English.
Even creative writing class, they'd flunk.
Yeah, there you go. I forgotten what that passage. I forgot what that passage was all about, and so I was reading it. I go, oh yeah, that's what it's about. Now I remember.
Is it about the rise of Jesus?
Well, it's about the rise of Jesus, but it's about God brought forth everything due to the Word. He invoked the Word, and it became. And that's how he created everything, was through the Word. The word
What
of
word?
I have to go dig up the words, but he had words for everything. As he created the universe, he just spake a word and it came into existence.
Interesting.
And that's not only in this Bible, but it's in some of the Gnostic Gospels I've read, and some of the Gnostic stuff I've gotten from other religions. Because there's other religions that use parts of the Bible that aren't included in the King James Version Bible.
Yeah.
The King James Version doesn't have all the books.
No Bible does. It's been split up and remade.
Yeah, but accordingly to, for the prominent religion, Christian religion, the King James Bible is the only Word of God, but it's not the complete Word of God. They don't even they say it's the complete Word of God, where it's not. It's there's more to the Word of God. But what I actually had a thought about it today as I was thinking about it, it's like, what if the Bible's not so much as the Word of God, but if you could tear out the information properly, what if it was the history that was written down for us to pay attention to when the world comes upon these mass amounts of conversions again, or convergences of cycles again? What if this?
Say that again?
What if the Bible, along with the other books, where the history, which of course, because it's been changed over time, some of the meaning has been lost, the words have been changed to correspond to the times that were rewritten in. What if it was the history that was put down to warn people of what they have to face when the convergence of cycles comes together again?
Oh, that would be shit luck on our part, wouldn't it?
Well, it would. But there are things in there when you look at them and you take them. If you don't take it, you don't take them at. You take them at face value, but not face value. You look at them as like, okay, I'm reading a history book. Pull out the trappings of religion in them, and then look for the information that it's trying to tell you something you need to do. I mean, like there's a whole sections in the Old Testament, which is the Old Testament is part of the Talmud from the Jewish religion, and it gives very precise diet instructions in there. Which at that time of our development, they were very important to do, such as the separation of meat and dairy products, stored differently, not mixed, because if you mix them inappropriately without refrigeration, you get sick.
That is true.
And there's a lot of stuff in here, dietary restrictions there, where today with our modern technology of refrigeration and everything else and being able to keep all the bacteria at bay, you go back a few hundred years, those diet restrictions actually make a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah, they do.
And that's the interesting thing about it. There's many parts of the Bible that are like that for those that want to go dwell upon it. But I just want to bring it forward because I figure it's kind of an interesting thing. It's something different that nobody, well, there might be other people doing it, but nobody I listen to does something like that at the beginning of their shows. And at that point there, we've chased away everyone who's come to listen.
Well, there's another factor too, back to the word. I've always been very interested in words because of so many like stories and beliefs and everything about words having so much power. And the fact that if you take a bunch of cups and you say a different word into each cup or over each cup, and then you freeze them, they all freeze differently according to how you said the word and what word you said.
Yep.
It is very interesting phenomenon, and it's very interesting the way that words actually affect people. Like that whole saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah.
Is kind of really not true, because somebody can say something and have it affect that person for 10 times longer and 10 times worse than having their arm broken would have.
But it doesn't hurt them. It only hurts them because they're pussies.
And
they don't know how to adjust their life to deal with, okay, that was just somebody saying some stupid shit. I should just go kick their ass and get it over with. Come on.
But still, it has a larger effect. And even on people who can adjust, something such as a loved one telling you to go drop dead and actually meaning it, or, something like that. Words have more of an effect than actual physical damage.
Yeah, I won't believe that ever.
Okay.
I only believe it to the fact that the people that it has effects on don't have their mind organized and strong enough to deal with it. All right, well, let's go have a little fun here before we dive into other little subjects. We're going to deal with some fun Rona crap, just because the Rona is going to get you. And this is just a really fun video that comes from Media Bear. These guys are just freaking hilarious with their satirical videos. And this is one of theirs, and there's links in the show notes for Media Bear. So let's watch this video. We'll watch about 2 or 3 minutes of it, and then we'll cut it short instead of watching a whole 5-minute video. But let's watch it.
And now it's COVID butthole. Oh, silly baby, case numbers are going low. Now Q-tips are inside me. Show me every night on TV. It's so crazy what we're being told now. All because my government is killing me. I must resist this tyranny. Now propaganda infects my mind. Now I'm confined. Stick me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby, the butt swabbing test is new. The Rona is inside you. Oh, silly baby, they say it's hiding in your goo. That's just how China planned it. Vaccine, you must keep your hands clean. Standing 6 feet, cover up your nose now. All because no safety mask protecting me. And I suggest you leave me be. I've got no symptoms, I'm feeling fine. Don't swab my behind. Stick me, baby, one more time.
We'll leave it at that. Well, these guys are brilliant. They put out a great ones. And this ties perfectly into the first article I want to dive into on here. And
That is so awesome.
how it ties so brilliantly into this is like I found this video after I found this article. It seems Canada in Vancouver area is now testing sewage. They had tested sewage for cannabis, but now they're testing it to look for COVID. So they're looking for COVID in your poo.
Wait, they were looking for cannabis?
Well, they were looking for cannabis just before they made pot legal in Canada. They were testing
jeez.
sewage to see how many people were smoking pot. And they now
And
have
now-
an online tool that you can go to and for the Metro Vancouver area and see which sewage systems have the most COVID in them.
Oh, Dad, turns out your video didn't actually show on the YouTube.
Oh, you know what's funny?
What?
I forgot to change the screen on YouTube.
Uh-oh.
Yep. What video? Nothing's showing. Did you hear the music anyway? Sorry. You'll have to follow the link. Have to
But
follow.
by following the link, they get to watch the whole video anyway.
Yeah, here,
That's
I'll
awesome.
get you the link into the show notes. You can go, or not in the show notes, but in the thing here. Here's the link to the video. Go check it out. Yeah, I forgot to switch the. I forgot to switch the screen. I had the regular
Tisk tisk.
preload screen. Anyway, back to this. You can go check on the online tool and see which sewage systems in the greater Vancouver area have the most amount of COVID, according to their poo samples. Is this insane or what?
Oh wow.
Although I did hear some really good news around the Wuhan flu and Rona here today, is that Texas is opening 100% starting on Monday next week. And as more and more states do that in the U.S., they'll force the rest of North America to probably follow suit. I hope.
Oh gosh, I hope so.
I'm really tired of when I actually have to go grocery shopping and wear a mask just so I can avoid fighting with people. That's the only reason I do it. That's the only reason I do it, is so I don't have to fight with them and bitch at them and whine and complain and tell them to fuck off, that they're just idiots.
Well, the way I see it is, I'm going into a privately owned building, their house, their rules, whatever. I'm not going to wear the damn thing on the sidewalk, though.
Well, I won't put it on till I cross the threshold of their door.
Exactly.
And I take it off before I even leave the building. As I'm leaving the building, it's off my face.
Yeah, me too.
It's really entertaining though to watch everyone get the fuck out of my way.
Or give you dirty looks.
Oh, the dirty looks in my face.
It's like you're beating a puppy, man.
Yeah, well, you could probably beat a puppy and get less of a dirty look.
Oh my goodness, that's so sad yet true.
Mm-hmm. That's the state of our world right now with the Wuhan virus, which is just insane. The one thing I have caught little bits of it here and there is that it appears that I wish I'd have grabbed the article for it, but all I grabbed was the phrase "hope is being stripped away from people."
Yeah.
Is what's happening. People are being pounded down to where they just give up and surrender without a fight anymore. They're just tired of the fight. I mean, I've been interesting to watch. Rebel News and the coverage of their reporter Keenan, who got himself placed in the COVID hotels there to see what it was like in there. God, it's a shithole.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a true shithole in there. I wonder when he's going to walk out.
That was a rough go for him.
Is he already out? I haven't caught the news the last while. I thought he's...
I don't know if he's already out, but I do know that I got a notification about how he managed to have, like, the flight people managed to lose all of his stuff, his camera, his clothes, his everything.
Yeah, right. They lost his bag as he's being checked in.
Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not.
No. He might take pictures after all.
Well, it's a good thing he had his phone on his hands.
Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, well, he managed to get himself delivered a laptop. As he said, "I'm not telling you how I got this laptop," which means he either had it stuffed in the trunk of his car or he had somebody deliver him one on his way to the hotel.
Either way, good job on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been quite interesting to follow the story there. But the stories in Canada are very worrisome for the most part. The ones I catch, even not just on Rebel News, but in other news forums that put out truth versus the party line and show the stories that aren't being told. So let us hope that states like Texas, Florida, South Dakota, I guess Missouri's following suit too to Texas. And I imagine Oklahoma will be right on their ass after that, because Oklahoma tends to follow Texas. And as more states in the States just stand up and saying, "We're done. We're all good." What's funny is you look at the numbers. The numbers are like, they speak for themselves right now. It's like we have magic in Canada this year. I mean, the massive magic is, let's take, for instance, December 13th to January 30th. 2020. Those are usually the magic most worst weeks for the flu in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we got here is the weekly flu report. No, I don't want to take a survey with you guys and tell you how stupid you are. Okay, all indicators of influenza activity remained exceptionally low this past December to January. To date, there was no evidence of community circulation of the flu. However, flu testing continued at elevated levels. 3 laboratory detections of the flu were reported in weeks 51 to 53. That means the last 2 weeks of December to the first week of January. 3? Is that what I just... Yeah, 3 detections of the flu. That means 3 cases of the flu. It's like magically... it's like, as I've heard a few times, it's like, we've been trying to find cures for the flu and the common cold for decades. Magically, all we really had to do was create a whole new virus and just wipe them right out. So, it's like we've had no flu. It's like, okay, so no flu, but magically we've got all these people with the Rona. It's like, yeah. Again.
Coincidence? I think not.
Wow.
I when I see these things, and then of course I look at the numbers. We've got the numbers. They're even having troubles with their case counts now because their case counts are plummeting off a fucking cliff.
Yeah. It's because we all got a bloody immunity to it now.
Oh yeah. But they're still trying to justify all this lockdown crap and this mask crap and everything else, and they're going to have a tougher and tougher time justifying. It's like pretty soon they're going to have to start faking the numbers just to do it. I mean, if you've seen somebody trying to fake the numbers, what was it you're going to say?
I have a theory that come middle of the summer, people are going to be snapping and there won't be a lockdown anymore. For the lockdown's just going to be stopped because people are going to snap over the summer. It's warm out. They finally get to go outside. And if they try to keep the lockdown BS going, people are going to snap and they're not going to want to go back into the box once they get out of the box.
Yep.
Over the winter, it's easier to keep us holed up because it's miserable outside.
Nobody wants to go outside anyway. Yeah. It's Canada, man. Nobody wants to go outside in the winter in Canada.
Yeah. And in most of Canada, we have like plus 30s and plus 15s to get from building to building. We don't like outside in the winter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
But over the summer, people are going to start snapping. And I don't think there's going to be another lockdown after this summer.
Yeah. Well, we'll put that one in the
oracles.
On the oracles. Put that one into the
All
oracles for us. We'll get that one up onto the website for the oracles. Yeah, well, that's where we're at. We've got a lot of things that are just not playing into their favor, and they're going to try though. I'm absolutely certain they're going to try. Oh, that's what I was going to say. We've got our illustrious evil leader in Ottawa, our Teresa Tam. Tamp it on down, or what's it called her? Teresa Tampon to plug the hole. She put out this fake chart, predictive chart. Shouldn't say fake. It's a predictive chart. I don't have the chart. I really should have grabbed the chart where she said, well, even though it's plummeting now because of these new variants, it's not going to be a gradual increase. It's going to be like a V, worse than a hockey stick. It's going to be just shoot straight to the moon. It's like you look at it and you go, are you on drugs, woman? If it did that, people would start dying in the streets.
So essentially what's going on is just like the regular yearly flu, the COVID is mutating. And it's turning into something else. Yeah,
well, this was predicted last year. I think I said something about it last year, but we didn't have a show last year. So, but I did say it. It's going to become cold flu and COVID season, or cold flu and Wuhan. It should be called Wuhan. It should. By all definitions of naming a virus, it should be called the Wuhan virus. Because it was first discovered in Wuhan. You go through the history of the naming of viruses, they were always named after the place they were first discovered.
Like the Spanish flu.
Like the Spanish flu, and there's a whole list of them. I don't have the list, but there was a whole list somebody did one time. Yeah, you're right. So anyway, it's gonna be the cold flu and Wuhan virus season.
Yeah.
Because, wintertime, this is going to become a winter virus that we're kind of stuck with because, they invented it in a lab and unfortunately it didn't degrade back down to its original, what it was created from, and then disappear like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And it'll just continue to come around and they'll try to continue selling, eventually. Well, there's another prediction for you. Eventually the marketers around all the vaccine creators will go, you know what? People are getting fed up. We still want to make our billions of dollars. So what we need to do is we need to change our marketing platform for this. And we'll just we'll work it in with the flu. And, hey, we're going to lose a lot of money after this flu season when nobody got the flu. We got to get the flu back working again, guys. We're losing shit tons of money here on the flu vaccine because nobody's going to want the flu vaccine next year after nobody got the flu this year. So they're going to have to work their marketing magic for this next year. Because remember, it was supposed to be the one, because if you look back at the news around September or so, it was supposed to be one of the worst flu seasons we ever had this year.
Yeah.
And magically, no flu. Not really magically. It's simply the reason we don't have no flu is because everybody was taking extra precautions with hand washing and wearing their masks and everything else. So there was no spreading of the flu. Not that I ever worried about it anyway, because I don't catch the flu. I haven't caught the flu in 20 years. Quick, knock on wood. Since the last time I had a flu shot, I have not had the flu.
Yeah. I haven't gotten flu shot. When I got flu shots as a teenager, I got them 2 times in a row. And both times they made me really, really sick. Like for both years, I was horribly sick and it sucked a lot.
Yeah, that it is. Well, Panzer there. He wants to see something racist. Let's watch this, huh? Let me bring up something really fun for the racists. Oh, here, this will work. We'll start with this while I go look up that. I don't want to listen to his big rant, though. We'll pop it
Called Be Less Black. Can you imagine if I'm from life you come from, this is getting comical. I think in America, we hope y'all like this
There we
song.
go. Now while I go look up the other thing.
No matter where you came from. In the meantime, we need to be less white. Coca-Cola's done lost their dadgum minds. Yeah, the white guilt's hitting pretty hard this time. I thought I'd seen it all, but as it turns out, I have to change my skin to live this one down. We gotta be less white, be less white. These liberals gone wild and they lost their minds. We gotta be less white, be less white. Now I'm switching to Pepsi and it's all alright.
But I won't be switching to Pepsi because of how they make Pepsi. That stuff's horrible.
How they make it?
Yeah.
You just mean how it tastes?
No, the Pepsin. Where they get the Pepsin from.
I just don't like the way it tastes. Makes my tongue swell up a bit. I don't know what they use, but I don't like it.
I'm not going to go into that. Here you go. Here's a beautiful one from redonkulous.com. I tried to find this graphic that they used. They give a source. But the source, the graphics have been erased from the Internet Archive too. It's been erased from the website that it was on, which is I forget who it was now. Smithsonian Institute, the Black Museum Smithsonian Institute portion of the website. That's where this graphic came from. So this is how you curb your whiteness. If you are asked to attend anti-whiteness training at work, remember these are the attributes of the white supreme pizzas. Okay, so stealing from them. All right. This is how you curb it. Stop showing up on time. That's not good. Stop working so hard. Stop meeting goals. Stop respecting authority. Stop planning for the future. Stop making progress. Stop winning. Winning's not good. You gotta if you want to curb your whiteness, you gotta stop winning. Stop
aiming to win.
Stop solving problems. You can't solve problems anymore. Stop making decisions. Stop speaking proper English. Stop being polite. We don't want no politeness here. And avoid all conflict. Stop avoiding conflict. Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah.
It's like, there you go. There's some racist crap for you. Some true racism. All right, we've gone sideways for a little bit here.
As we do.
Yeah, well, that's what the show's all about. How far sideways can we get? All right, where do we want to go? Where do we want to pop? Anything you've got?
Actually, before I go into my random rant thing, I had a question for you.
Okay.
It's a question about the SHTF survival kind of thing. What signs do people need to be looking out for to get the hell out?
Oh God!
Like I'm not even sure what signs to be looking for, other than like EMP means no phone as well as no electricity. So that's the only sign I can think of.
It's so hard to know exactly what signal in the SHTF is going to be there. The big one is going to be grid down. Okay. That's a big one. And grid down meaning, after a possible EMP wiping out the grid, or even just a major storm wiping out the grid, you got to remember the first 24 hours, everyone's going to be relatively calm.
Yeah.
And if they hear news, like if people still get news, the biggest thing will be not being able to get any news from outside of your next door neighbor. You won't be.
We need to be able to communicate. We've gotten so used to it. It's not good when we have no communication.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole thing. If we don't have the communication, in other words, you don't know what's going on outside of your household or your immediate community. The first 24 hours will be relatively calm because everyone will think, oh, it'll be back. No big deal. The next 24 hours, panic will start to set in. People will run on the stores. They'll start running on the stores. The smarter ones will run to the stores for whatever's left in them. The next 24 hours, so we're now up to 72 hours, that's when the full-blown panic will be set in. So you've got 72 hours to figure out if you got to get out of there. But the biggest thing I can think of is the total loss of communication. And that means if you've got yourself a battery-powered radio in your house and you can't pick up a single radio station throughout the AM band, don't even try the FM band. The AM band is what you need. Or in my instance, I've got myself a little ham radio, a little portable ham radio now that was given to me for Christmas.
Cool.
And it covers all the frequencies and even the repeaters. And I've been setting it up to hit the repeaters and other things. I've been learning how to use my little ham radio before I go after my license. But if I can't pick up a single signal on that in the first 12 to 18 hours, I know it's time to get the fuck out of Dodge. Mm-hmm. Because you don't have much time to get the hell out of Dodge. Because once people realize that shit has hit the fan, they're going to start running for the hills. And they're going to clog the roads out. And every city, I don't care where you go pick a city, any city, there is never more than a dozen ways out of that city. The city we live in here has two.
Yeah.
Has two ways. Actually, it has a couple others, but they're back roads, and you got to know where those back roads are. Once you hit those back roads, you're free. One of those back roads is entered from your neighborhood.
Yep.
So that's one benefit is you can hit the back roads from there, and once you hit those back roads and get up into there, all you need is the maps to the countryside there, and you're good to go. Maps and a compass, and you're good to go. But the main roads, the main arteries out of town, they'll be clogged around hour 36 to 48, I imagine.
Well, even if there's no car capability, like in like an EMP situation, there's no cars that are going to work.
Oh, except
for the really old ones.
In my garage where I park my truck, there's 3 of them that I can hotwire.
That's true.
I know that. I've seen them. I've looked at them. I know the models. It's like I hot wired them when I was a mechanic. So I'm good to go. I'm set. I've got my escape vehicles. I'm good.
You are, but 9 out of 10 people won't have that.
Oh, no,
And even though they won't have that, people are still going to hit the highway. That I know.
They'll start walking.
But
Now,
the question is,
Mhm.
aside from a completely grid down thing, you still have the news. You still have the ability to, your power is out, but you can still check on your phone to see what's going on. You still have the internet. So what if you have all of that? What signs do you look for before you bail?
Oh, well, what I would probably think of, if I've still got news and information, I'm looking for more paranoia. I'm looking for supply lines. I'm looking for, what's the supply lines going to be like? I'm looking for news about, trying to think. TikTok users will panic in 24 seconds. Well, TikTok users are like goldfish.
They have shorter attention spans than goldfish, actually.
Yeah.
It has been proven.
Yeah. I'd be looking if I've still got all the general norms of communications. What I'm looking for now is there news of shit being repaired and for whatever's broken, and how long will our supply lines be down or broken? Now, the island here is a bit tougher because everything comes in here by boat.
Yeah.
Everything. Some things can be brought in by plane, but everything to this island that comes to the island comes by boat.
So I wonder if so maybe that's something we could be looking for, is seeing if the ships were stopped.
Yeah.
If the ships aren't coming in anymore, then start thinking about your shit hits the fan plan.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, if the ships aren't coming, the biggest thing is it's such a tough call to figure out exactly when it's time to pull the ripcord. And
it's only easy if it's an entirely grid down situation. You both lose your power and your phone capability.
Yeah, and grid down situation is the ultimate worst nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole problem. It's like there's going to be a lot of things go wrong slowly. I mean, one way to look at it going slowly is what was that movie I watched? I Am Legend. I Am Legend is a really good example of it all going wrong slowly, and then in the last bit going crazy. Which is, it's a zombie apocalypse kind of film.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one. I can barely remember it. Or get a boat.
Yeah.
Maybe get a boat.
I'll get a boat, but you got to learn a lot. A boat is a hole in the water you pour money into.
Yeah.
I don't have money to pour into a hole in the water right now. I'm busy pouring my money into other holes, but the holes I'm pouring money into will pay me benefits. A boat, maybe, maybe not. But thing is a boat's only good on the island. It's like it's 20 miles across to the States, across the straits, and they're pretty nasty. And it's 20 miles again across from the island over to the mainland, Vancouver, and that's a pretty nasty crossing too if you don't have a decent sized boat.
Well, I don't think one would want to go to the mainland anyways during a grid down situation.
No, I'd stay here on the island. I'd be wanting here on the island. I mean,
Mad Max.
Mad Max, yeah. Build myself an Intercept. It's a great movie. The original movie is such a great movie.
I'll have to watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
And you haven't seen the original Mad Max? Oh.
I haven't seen Mad Max at all.
Oh, really? You haven't seen any of them? Well, the original one, you want to watch the original. The original one is really quite amazing. The original one's really quite amazing. It's kind of sad in the beginning, but he turns out to be really cool. But he built such an awesome Interceptor car with a blower on it and makes that car go screaming. Oh, it's an awesome car. The cars are what get me, man. But of course, when Mad Max came out, I was an automotive mechanic, and I'm just looking like, I wonder if I could fit a blower like that on my vehicle. How do I get that hooked up on my car? That was my thoughts. I like that idea. So yeah, it's such a tough call to figure out when it's time to pull the plug and pull the ripcord on your emergency plan. You know, it's such a tough call. You've got to be paying attention to all of the signs, not just
Yeah.
one or two.
I noticed that people, for some reason, are really panicking in the grocery stores right now.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
well, because they've seen the panic in overseas, and I think it started in Australia or New Zealand again with the toilet paper.
Yeah, it's been crazy panicky. Like, I'm really glad that we have enough of a stock to be like, okay, we'll just wait a few weeks before we go shopping again.
Yeah.
Wait for everyone to calm down.
Funny, I didn't notice that. I went shopping this last week, and I noticed the grocery store was out of stock of some stuff. Wasn't as bad as it was 6 months ago, but it was still some things I thought were unusual to be out of stock. But they had
It happened the day after Syria got bombed.
well, that was a few days ago, wasn't it? Wasn't that last week?
Yeah. About 4 days ago, I think it was. And we went to the grocery store because Ivy, going through growth spurt, needs extra protein shakes to keep her metabolism from eating her.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to go grab some, and the bloody line was out the door. And okay, we got inside, and the store was just crazy busy. People are shoving at people out of the way, and things were flying off the shelves, and just it was nuts.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. And it's the only thing I can think of, but I don't see why that would cause people to panic here in Canada.
Can't
That
either,
makes
man.
sense.
I think they'd be celebrating. USA is back,
Hmm.
baby. They're bombing countries again. Oil prices
Yes,
are
their own
rising.
diplomacy.
Oil prices are rising. Hey, it's all good in the world, man. USA is back, baby. They're back.
I just thought it was an interesting thing that happened.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed. Actually, I went grocery shopping yesterday. It seemed to be quite calm and peaceful to me.
Well, maybe that's the issue. Is it was like I just happened to be a crazy moment.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. Or you went on a weekend. I never go near the grocery stores on a weekend.
That might have been the issue.
I mean, that's when those that work aren't working. Vast majority, and I think a lot of BC people are still sort of working, unless you're in the hospitality or the tourism industry.
Mm.
Or unless you're working for a hotel that's, oh, no, that's only in Vancouver. They got the COVID hotels. We don't have them on the island. International travelers. No, there's only four airports in Canada that they can arrive to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can only arrive in Vancouver, Edmonton, somewhere in Quebec, and Ontario. Those are the only four airports they can arrive at for international travelers. And it's
Corral them all together.
yeah, well, that's it. They corral them all together. Kind of reminds me of what was that movie? One where they not Jumper. What was that movie? Can't remember, but they're foretelling the future. You can see the future, but if people can see the future, you can make the future happen. If you're told what the future is, you will make the future happen. You're told there's going to be a pandemic, so you corral the sick people together, you create a pandemic.
Sounds like a spinoff of Precog.
No, this is not This is not spin-off Precog. This was an individual movie, and I can't remember now. I can sort of get it in my head, but it was it started not Johnny Depp. Keanu Reeves was in it. I think it was Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves and that hot tall blonde from Kill Bill.
I don't know her name.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Just call her the hot tall blonde from Kill Bill. She was in it. But anyway, it was a good movie. Is the black ball running? I have no idea if the black ball's running. Let's find out. Let's see if the black ball ferry is running. Schedule. It's funny, when they shut down for the Wuhan, it was the first time in their entire history they had ever canceled the ferry.
We have canceled our current sailing schedule until further notice.
Yeah. Yeah, they're 21 be released as soon as we learn. It's the border problem.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're not shipping trucks across. It used to be a major thing for trucks. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're not carrying trucks across because that's essential travel. It's like a lot of truckers would come through that border there instead of drive across because it saved them a hell of a lot of time. And even after paying the ferry fee, it was cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're still canceled, which is a shame because those guys there, I really feel for them because it's currently owned by the employees of the company. They bought it back from the University of Oregon.
Oh.
They bought it back from the University of Oregon about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's like the most awesome. It was like the most awesome business. It's like, granted, in the wintertime, it wasn't barely full, but in the summertime, it was filled to capacity, sailing after sailing after sailing. So they made all their bucks during the summer.
Nice.
You know, and of course, once upon a time, it used to be a cash cow. I mean, the old lady who owned it, she inherited it from her husband. She refused for decades to even accept MasterCard. It was a cash only and first come, first serve, cash only. And she carried that on, and it carried on like that until after she died, and she left her estate to the University of Oregon. And the University of Oregon took over the ferry, and then they put in the Visa card and implemented the registration system and the other bits and pieces to it and raised the rates. It's funny. She kept the rates low for decades.
Which means that it was a complete cash cow.
Oh, it was a complete cash cow, man. It made cash. And every year, the ferry was taken out of service for 2 weeks out of every year. Last 2 weeks of February, every year, it was taken out of service, and they did a complete overhaul, cleaning, and painting of the ship.
Cool.
Very highly
That seems
maintained.
like a way smarter way to run it.
Oh yeah, it was way smarter. And then when the employees took over, they started taking better care of it than the university. The university didn't care; it was all about making money. When the employees took over it again, it started to become a better ship again.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's too bad. No, they're not running. It's like nobody's crossing the border right now unless they're really stupid or they're crazy ass reporters.
Yes, our reporters are crazy.
Mm-hmm. I keep thinking about how close I came to being a reporter like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when I was really big into doing my news in the early 2000s, I almost went down the line of becoming a reporter. You know, after my trip.
So you doing that?
After my trip to Seattle during the battle in Seattle for the the hell's it called? Not the OTO, the GTO.
I don't remember what it's called, but I remember you going there.
Yeah.
I think I went with you and stayed with Grandpa.
Yeah, I left you across the water, and I went over to Seattle with my buddy, and we were over there for the riots in Seattle for the it was 1999. It was the riots in Seattle. Let's look it up so I can get the freaking name in my head here. The Battle in Seattle. Action thriller. WTO, World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference in 1999. Hey, they got a video on this.
Cool.
Somebody did a documentary on it.
And that's awesome. Wonder if you're in it.
Well, I doubt it. But you never know. I was in a lot of places. Let's
You'll
see.
be useful, Johnson. You can be the one to resupply the gas. Now we got a van heading upstate to restock. Hey, don't be smiling at me, boy. Now go get changed.
Oh, this is a scam one. Okay, this is
Yeah. I was just gonna say it seems pretty organized.
That wasn't what happened. I was there. I was there. I've got the photos to prove it. I've got the photos to prove it. Yeah, it was quite intense. It was really interesting. It was the one thing that changed my mind about the cops. Yeah, this is all stage stuff. They might. Yeah, it's all about this. Yeah, it's okay. It's just a fake movie. Okay, but yeah, that was one thing that did sort of change my mind about the police and knowing that the police do start a lot of this shit. And we're seeing the police act the same way now that they acted then.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing the cops act the same way now that they acted then. I was starting to gain respect for police, except over this last year, I've lost all the respect for them again. It's really a shame because, they were starting to gain my respect again because they were doing things by the book, the right way, making sure they did best. But no. But I watched the police start this event, and I was a reporter. I had my press credentials and everything. And I almost got smoked a couple times by the cops myself. I got hit by a tear gas grenade, and I got photos of it. It was really intense. And then me and my buddy were out there in the late evening when the insane protesters started roaming through the streets, creating havoc. Now, those fuckers deserved what they got because they started problems, breaking businesses and other shit. Those guys deserved it. But the initial protest that started the worst of it, the police created the problems. The protesters were on the line, protesting, making noise, and all of a sudden the police started marching forward, push and push, and then all of a sudden the police started shooting at them with tear gas and everything else before the protesters had done anything to provoke them. And at that point weird how what?
It's weird how that works. Weird how it all happens and the patterns and everything.
Yeah, and that's what the cops are doing now, except now there's more video cameras. It catches them more. Back then we didn't have video camera. It was still photos and a couple of video cameras, and it was all film, black and white film. I think I went through, in the 3 days I was there, I went through 75 rolls of film.
Back when you could afford to get 75 rolls of film.
Wasn't my cost anyway. It was the newspaper's cost.
Yeah.
My whole trip down there was paid for by my school newspaper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because they wanted to cover it, and they wanted to cover both me and my buddy to go down, and we're game, man. Let's go. But then again, I was younger, a little more crazy, a little more insane. More willing to stick myself out there.
Yeah, you were still immortal.
Yeah, mostly. I was mostly immortal at that time, yeah. I wasn't in my 20s, but I was in my early 30s. Seems guys in their early 30s are still just as immortal as when they're in their 20s.
Seems like that.
Yeah. It's about the time we hit our 40s, we start to realize, hey, we might be mortal after all. Maybe I should rethink this next decision I'm going to make that is ultimately going to be stupid as fuck.
Like trying to ride a moose?
I don't know, man. Give me a chance to ride a moose. I might actually try that one. I don't know, man. There'd be something cool about riding a moose. It just seems like the cool factor of riding a moose. Probably we don't have any moose on the island, though. Elk, on the other hand, I don't know, man. Elk they got pointed horns. Moose, they've got the paddles. So.
Yeah, but moose are vicious.
Yeah, so are elk.
True.
Yeah, well, at any rate. All right, I got to play a little music here. I've got to go refill my beer. And let's pull up some fun here. Let's go with this one.
You've been working hard in the factory or the shipyard. At construction you are employed. The weekend's here, now you're overjoyed with thoughts of a boisterous Saturday night. It's the boys' night to howl and the girls' night to proud. It's the blue-collar workers' boisterous Saturday night. A chance to let off steam, a chance to holler and scream. It's the blue-collar workers' boisterous Saturday night. All week long you've been longing for that whistle to blow, get out that door. A quick shower, a day fast meal, rev up the car and make her wheels squeal, heading for a boisterous Saturday night. It's the boys' night to howl and the It's a blue collar workers, boisterous Saturday night. A chance to let off steam, a chance to holler and scream. It's a blue collar workers, boisterous Saturday night. You will sing and dance. If you get lucky, you'll find romance. You drink too much of that, I'm sure. Wake next morning with your head so sore, all caused by a boisterous Saturday night. It's the boys not the house, and the girls not the proud. It's the blue collar workers, boisterous Saturday night. A chance to let off steam, a chance to holler and scream. It's blue collar workers, boisterous Saturday night. It's the boys not the how, and the girls not the proud. It's blue collar workers, boisterous Saturday night. A chance to let off steam, a chance to holler and scream. It's the blue collar workers, boisterous Saturday night. Lord, it's the blue collar workers, boisterous Saturday night.
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world, and you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing!
Absolutely. So I finally perfected the pepperoni sticks in a bun.
Oh, cool.
Pepperoni cheese sticks, because I really like those as a snack you can get in the store, but they're always really pricey. Every once in a while you can buy pepperoni cheese sticks for pepperoni sticks for cheap. And since I always have cheese in stock and I'm always making bread, I finally perfected the recipe for making them. They're just
cool.
Excellent snack. All right, so where are we going here? Oh, I've got a really great one here. This is one that goes into your thing of what do you do in an SHTF scenario? And one of the things you're going to want to know is how to make your own painkillers.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This is a really good article on how to make your own natural painkillers that'll kill a lot of different types of pain. It's using oil, olive oil, beeswax, and some simple ingredients, such as different herbs and spices, hot pepper flakes and cayenne powder, bay leaves and black pepper.
Interesting.
Cinnamon and cloves.
That one I knew about.
So yeah, and then how to do it, how to infuse the oil, then how to mix the oil with the beeswax to make a balm that you then apply. Now I'm digging a little deeper to find out some more painkiller recipes, because there's only 3 basic ones, because the ones they give you are pretty lightweight topical. I'm looking into getting into more of the heavier weight painkillers that can be made with natural herbs and remedies.
Like poppy paste.
Well, you know what? I am actually growing good poppies.
So I know.
Similar to the ones they grow over in Afghanistan.
Oh, cool. Yeah, those are from what I understand, poppy paste is actually pretty easy to make. You just grind it.
Yeah, but you need the right poppy, so you get opium. Not every poppy produces opium.
Oh, really? See that? I didn't know. I thought it was just poppies.
No. Believe it or not, I didn't realize this. Your grandma helped me realize this last year, especially after she joined the Poppy Exchange on Facebook. There are dozens of different types of poppies. I mean, I managed to get my hands on some California poppy seeds. I'm trying to remember. I wrote it down what it's used for. It's medicinal use, but it doesn't have opiate in it. It's got a different medicinal use.
Interesting.
I've actually got the pink puffball poppies, which are the poppies like they grow in Afghanistan, which are the opiate poppies.
That's really interesting. I honestly had no idea there were
And
so many different kinds. I thought it was just like, it's a plant that does the same thing all across the board.
Nope. And I've got, I think I've planted about 10 or 12 different varieties of poppies in the yard this year.
Oh, cool.
So I have multiple colors and multiple types of poppies and what the multiple poppies do. I've got a lot of research to go. But yeah, that's a good one to have because that'll give you a massive painkiller. Kind of like milk of the poppy.
Milk of the poppy. I've read about that in books and stuff, but I don't have no idea how to make that.
Neither do I yet. But I will know in the next year.
That is cool.
Now that I'm growing everything I need. Now that I'm growing everything I need. Like that song? Yeah, that was a good song. Youngling, for the force is string with you. You are getting wiser, my youngling. The force is string with you. Oh, strong.
I think it's supposed to be strong.
Yeah, I realize that.
I'm not really sure if it has anything to do with getting wiser as much as it has to do with girls seem to have a lot more self-preservation instinct.
Mm-hmm. That's because they bring life to the world.
Yeah. Guys don't have nearly as much self-preservation instinct as girls. Although it is quite entertaining to watch boys play.
Mm-hmm. Men create and destroy. Women bring life.
Yeah. And organize.
Women tend to organize too.
That's what I mean. Women organize.
Yeah, well, somebody's got
whether we want to or not. We have to. We like obsess over it. Once we get to our late 20s, early 30s, every woman I've met starts obsessing over organizing.
Well, somebody's got to do it. That's why my life is such a mess. I don't have a woman around to help me organize it.
A pocket pizza? What's a pocket pizza?
Oh, that's the pepperoni cheese stick.
Oh, okay. I was picturing like a little tiny pizza in a mini box in your pocket or something.
No, the pepperoni cheese stick is basically a pocket pepperoni pizza. Because you got the bread dough, you got cheese in the middle, you got the pepperoni stick, close it all up and put cheese on top. It's lacking. Hey, that's an idea. I should put tomato sauce in it next time.
There you go, pocket pizzas.
Next time I make homemade pizzas, I'll have to save some sauce off to the side for making these.
Perfect.
But I do like them. It's a nice quick snack. It's easy. It's cheap. And it's significantly cheaper when I make it myself at home.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've actually over the last year, I have cut down my eating out budget to less than $5 a month if I average it out over all the months. It's less than $5 a month my eating out costs.
Cool.
Because I just quit going out to eat. And I used to order out pizza once a month. But about, a month or so into this shutdown, scamdemic, blah, 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 I went to order pizza because I wanted pizza. And it's like I went to order it, but they made it such a freaking nightmare to order a pizza now. I couldn't pay cash. They wouldn't deliver it to my door. And I had to fill out a whole bunch of new forms I never had to fill out before. And it's like, oh, fuck this. Screw it. I'm just never ordering pizza again. I will finally get around to perfecting my homemade pizza sauce and my homemade pizza dough, and I'll make my own pizza. It's not that doesn't take that much. I can make a pizza if I make the dough. The dough is the longest part about making the pizza.
Yeah.
I make the dough. I think about it in the early afternoon. Now we're going to have pizza, and I'll make the dough. And I'll have the pizza. It only takes like 20 minutes to make the pizza, which is about the length of time it takes to order it and have it delivered. It's not that hard to make homemade pizza. The dough is the hardest part about making it. And the hardest part about making the dough is, getting a good recipe for pizza dough, because pizza dough is different than bread dough. I mean, granted, it's basically the same, but there's a taste to pizza dough that's really hard to duplicate. And it's taken me years to perfect my pizza dough. I mean, the sauce, I perfected the pizza sauce years ago. The pizza sauce was easy. It was the dough that was the hard part.
Yeah, we used to order pizza once a month, but
Yeah.
I've been ordering online from the same place forever. So
Well, when they started mandating I pay for it with my credit card online, I went, screw you. I'm not doing it. Enough places online have my credit card. You're not getting it too. I don't like giving out my info.
fair enough.
Whenever I ordered pizza previously, I paid for it cash at the door. Because
I haven't done that in ages. The whole or being able to order online, not have to talk to people thing was really quite a fun thing for me because I don't like people.
Well, I didn't
So
mind
I
ordering
really like the
online.
experience.
I didn't mind ordering online. What I didn't is I refused to pay with a credit card online.
You can also pay with PayPal.
I refuse to pay with PayPal online. I refuse to pay online for food I'm ordering. I don't want them tracking it. I want it sent to me, and I want to pay cash.
Fair enough.
And now they won't let me pay cash because cash is evil. Cash.
It is, don't you know?
Cash is carrying the COVID virus. All right. Let's wander on into one of your wonderful topics. What do you got here? Do we want radioactive diamond batteries or nuclear power, or do we want something else?
Let's start out with the nuclear power because nuclear power in general has such a really nasty name. I mean, most people when they think of nuclear power think of nuclear meltdowns.
Yeah, I was actually
like
having a
Chernobyl.
discussion. I was actually having a discussion with that with my boys this evening. Surprisingly,
Yeah.
they were asking about nuclear power this evening, and they were talking about green power.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Well, I was wondering what did they have to say about it?
Oh, well, they were just asking about it. Why isn't the green energy people wanting to use nuclear power? Isn't that the cleanest form of energy?
Where did they learn that? Because I can't see the schools teaching that.
Come on. You got to know where they learned that. I've mentioned it many times. They just finally decided to regurgitate it.
Okay, that's what it is. Because that's exactly
it. The schools don't.
Cleanest.
The schools don't teach it.
No, they don't, and it is the cleanest type of energy we have. And yes, we have the nuclear waste. And one of the really cool things that I heard about first in 2016 was the nuclear batteries.
Yeah.
The nuclear waste batteries. It's not very big. It can't power very much, but what it can do is it can actually power something for 10 times 10 times the years.
Yeah.
It will just keep going, and eventually it ends up disintegrating into nothing, and it's no longer a worry.
Yeah.
The type of nuclear reaction that goes on in there, it's a radioactive isotope, but so long as it's within the battery cell itself, there's no problem with it.
Yeah.
It's not dangerous, and it kind of it fizzles out over time. But you get enough of these things together, and you can power a lot of things. Right now, it's not entirely feasible to power something like an electric car.
Yeah.
Not really. But if we started using these, which we've had them around for 5 years now?
Yeah.
Safely for 5 years. If we start replacing all of our small batteries, our watch batteries, our TV remote batteries, all of our AA's, AAA's, all those, we replace them with these, and we'd start actually using up that radioactive waste, and we wouldn't have to worry so much about the little bit that's left over from nuclear power.
Yeah. Well, bringing up something about the waste here, I've got another article I just pulled up, is that nuclear energy produces minimal waste. The amount of energy, nuclear fuel used by nuclear energy industry over the U.S. nuclear energy industry over the last 60 years could fit in a football field at a depth of less than 10 yards. That's how much waste it's created in 60 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, the thing is there are. I was actually looking up stuff on the self-eating nuclear energy, and I think we got in discussion with my boys today is that the U.S. Navy has proven how safe and how long nuclear energy has been in effect. In fact, I caught a video today that I think I put up in here on the show notes. It's a documentary on a camp they created in the Arctic in Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Army created this camp, and they brought in a nuclear power plant for it because it was the most efficient power plant for this camp that they created up in the Arctic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, the U.S. has been running all their submarines nuclear for at least 40 years that I know of, you know, maybe longer. You know, they've had their aircraft carriers have been nuclear for 40 years and on and on. States, they
Well, I also know that a lot of the military uses nuclear powered batteries for things that they need for when they go deep diving, for lights, for all kinds of stuff as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they do. Nuclear power is the cleanest and it's extremely safe energy. I mean, I think what we were talking about was I only know of 3 major nuclear disasters in my lifetime and before my lifetime, which is Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and then the nuclear disaster. It wasn't even a disaster that happened in Japan after that massive tsunami. You know, where everybody was walking along. It was really entertaining for the year after. They're walking along the coasts of Oregon and Washington going, oh my God, we're picking up radioactivity with our Geiger counter. It's coming from Japan. It's like, yeah, okay, guys, you guys are fucking high. Go back and smoke some more pot.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That wasn't too long ago, was it?
Yeah, it was a couple, 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And the No Agenda show covered it extensively. It was really quite entertaining.
Yeah.
They covered it extensively about what was occurring. But yeah, nuclear energy is the most, if people were truly serious about clean energy, we would move to nuclear energy. If they were absolutely serious about clean energy, we would move to magnetic energy.
Yeah, that one definitely.
You know, magnetic generators are becoming more feasible now. I mean, Adapt 2030, if I had a 3D printer, I would probably, he put out some files recently on how to print all the components you need to create a magnetic generator. All you have to do is buy the magnets. You 3D print the generator, you buy the magnets, you insert them into the spots in the generator, and then you assemble this generator, fix the bearings, test it, and then you connect it up, and it will produce you a unlimited amount of free energy, because once the magnets start moving, it's a perpetual machine.
That's something that my younger daughter's been working on figuring out on her own. It's a perpetual motion machine with magnets.
Yes, and it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to not only create the magnets, you have to create the wire windings around them to pick up the electromagnetic pulse and then transmit that electronic pulse down to a thermistor. The fuck's it called? It collects all the energy. Crap, I know what it's called.
Transistor.
Transistor is basically a transistor. Not exactly what it is, but it collects the energy, and then capacitor puts the energy into a capacitor, and that capacitor can pass the energy on to something else that can pass it on to something else. But you have to be able to collect the energy and pass it on. It's like if you look at a generator or even look at an alternator. An alternator is the basics of electrical generation. Because an alternator generates, and you know an alternator now that you've been trained.
Yep.
Okay. An alternator is generating AC current. I mean, if you take away the resistor thing in it, the thing that controls the electrical output in an alternator.
I can't remember any of the names.
Yeah, neither can I for some reason at the moment. When you take that out of there, an alternator produces 212 volts. Okay, of AC current. You could power a house on your alternator. it would not be very clean energy. It would be very raw and do damage to the electrical circuits because of the way it's being sent through and controlled. And that's why you have to get it through the control units to control the energy. You know, even Tesla's ideas had to be stepped down into capacitors and other things so that the energy was cleaned up so it could be used.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is the ability for creating free energy exists. And clean energy, it massively exists, but yet that's not what the narratives are about. The narratives are about nuclear, evil, bad, horrible. Yes, we won't make as much money off it in the long term. We need these big, giant windmills, which cost a fortune to build. We got to replace the blades every few years, you know, and of course
they don't work in the cold.
Well, they do if you properly winterize them. The ones in Texas weren't winterized because the area of Texas where they froze, they had not experienced the winter like they had this year in like 75 years. It was like an 80-year cycle that hit them this year. Welcome back to the beginning of the show. Cycles.
Yeah.
Everything is cycles. What happened in Texas this year hasn't happened there in 70 or 80 years or 30 years. It's like I lived in Texas back in the 70s and I remember it snowing. It was a light snow. I lived in Beeville, Texas, which is in southern part of Texas, just north of Corpus Christi. So yeah, it's like, you know, they've had cold winters. But that's not the norm for Texas. It wasn't the norm. It will be the norm going forward for the next 10 years. They just don't understand that yet. They will begin to understand that next year when it happens again.
You think they'll winterize it for next year? You think the same thing's going to happen?
Same thing's going to happen because they're going to fuck, it was an anomaly. Not going to happen to us again. Yeah. Buckle up, Buttercup. Mother Earth has said, yep, hold my beer. Just wait. You ain't seen nothing yet. We're on a ride right into it. 1959. Nuclear energy is clean compared to wind. 1959 for what? Give me a little more stuff around that. Nuclear energy is very clean compared. Well, yeah. Nuclear energy is clean compared to everything. Nuclear energy is clean compared to oil and gas. Nuclear energy is clean compared to everything because of the amount of what goes into mining the uranium compared to mining all the stuff that goes into creating wind or solar energy, or even in pulling up oil and pumping the oil. Nuclear is the cleanest energy when you go from start to finish.
Oh yeah.
You know, the next cleanest is probably the cleanest would be magnetic energy.
Except for having to mine for the magnets.
The rare earth minerals to create the magnets.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what the problem is with all this battery operated shit. Oh, my battery operated car is so environmentally friendly. Yeah. Have you ever looked at the mines that are created to get your minerals necessary to create the batteries for your car?
Not just that, but they're talking about how it's so friendly for the environment, but we already only had like maybe 30% of a car that we could recycle when the car was done. Yeah. Now there is less than 5% of the car that can be recycled once it's done with.
Yeah, well, what's funny is all they think about when they've got their electric cars and their batteries is they think, oh, it's saving so much, it's so good for the environment, the batteries. And they don't think, even if they think about the batteries, they don't stop to think about, the rest of the car requires oil to make. Everything else on that car requires oil to make.
Oh, yeah, it's all plastic.
It's all plastic. And it's like, well, where does plastic come from? Well, it comes from plastic. It's like, yeah, you're dumb, aren't you? You do know that plastic is created from oil, right? Right?
My favorite picture is a picture of a line of electric cars waiting to charge up their electric car at some kind of Green Day event, and it's a diesel generator powering all the cars.
Oh, yeah, I love that one. That one's a beauty too. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah. It's like, you're so green, you got a diesel generator to charge your car.
Yeah.
Good on you. Yeah. Oh, one day it'll all be solar powered until the sun gets blocked out or it's a rainy day. It's like, yeah, the solar energy is so efficient too until we get a cloudy day. And then your efficiency.
What we need a way to store up the solar energy.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's what we need.
What we need around energy is we need to tap into Tesla's real ideas, which were stolen by the U.S. government. Like
Yes.
Tesla was pulling energy directly from the atmosphere, which
Yes.
is slowly being rediscovered. That information is being rediscovered. The problem with it is they can't monetize it. They can't make any money out of pulling energy out of the atmosphere. So, you know, that's not going to happen if they can do, if the powers that be have any say in it. It's going to continuously be quashed because how dare people be able to set up something to pull energy directly out of the atmosphere? Because the Earth has massive amounts of energy flowing through it. You want to prove that? Go walk around on a snowy, cold winter day in Alberta and touch a fucking doorknob. You'll know what energy from the atmosphere feels like.
Better yet, just stand outside when there's a lightning thunderstorm coming. You can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel the energy in the air. You can watch your hair. You watch your hair stand on end. Yeah, it's like the energy exists. We just don't have. Tesla learned how to tap it, and he tried to give it to people, but he went broke before he could do that. And they made sure he went broke before he could do that.
Which sucks.
But all the ideas were written down and he couldn't do anything with it. And shortly after he died, the government moved in and gathered all his paperwork and vanished them to their vaults.
I think that famous picture of him sitting in his room with the Tesla ball going, I think that was him pulling the energy in from the atmosphere, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. All his Tesla balls, all the displays he put on in his Watson Winslow, whatever his tower was, there was all energy pulled directly from the Earth. I mean, it was really interesting because, you know, there was a time when before he figured it out, he went to Colorado and he spent like 2 years in Colorado doing stuff. And there's lots of stories about him when he lived in Colorado as the eccentric out there planning out these poles in the middle of fields during lightning storms and, you know, figuring out, collecting the energy. And then once he figured it all out, he went back to his Watson Tesla Tower name. God, I got to get the name right.
1954 for subs, 59 carriers. I don't understand.
Oh, that was when we were talking about when the U.S. Navy made the submarines nuclear powered and the carriers nuclear powered.
All right.
Wardenclyffe Tower. That was when he went as the Wardenclyffe Tower. Yeah, but he spent a year and a half or 2 years in Colorado perfecting his ideas before he went back to Wardenclyffe and tried to give them to the world. And what's interesting is I've caught some information in the recent weeks that they're starting to build Tesla towers, Tesla-style towers in the globe.
Oh, cool. I've heard a lot about Tesla over the past 5 years. It's very interesting.
He's starting to get the recognition he deserves. I mean, our modern electricity is 100% Nikola Tesla. Okay?
Yep.
They gave all the credit to, what's that douchebag's name? Not Einstein. Edison. They gave all the glory to Edison because he perfected the light bulb. He didn't create the light bulb, he perfected it. Just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
They all think he created it. No, he perfected the light bulb, which is it's an achievement unto itself. Yes, perfecting it, but he didn't create it. It's like they try to give. It's like all these black inventors that they say, oh, this black inventor did it. No, that black inventor. Yes, he took someone else's idea and perfected it. So yes, he gets credit for perfecting it, but he does not get credit for creating it. Okay, this is what everyone seems to forget. They go, "Oh, well, he did it." No. He didn't create it. He perfected it, which is okay. Yeah. I'll give kudos to those who perfect it, because it takes a lot to perfect something, but it takes a lot to create it, to come up with the original idea. So anyway, that was it. But the Tesla over the last 5 years has started to really get the credit he deserves for everything he did. Because initially, the initial electricity throughout the United States was DC, direct current voltage. And that was Edison's idea. The problem with DC current is it couldn't travel very far without losing its potency, and they had to have a booster all the time. And the other problem was it was constantly causing the wires to catch fire, massive fires. It's like you go back to, I think that it was somewhere around 1918 is when it happened, or the 1890s, somewhere around there. And there was, if you look at the wiring in cities at that time, it was freaking insane for direct current. And then Tesla invented the AC current and proved how good it could be at the Tesla World Fair. That's it. Let's find out when this is when it happened. World Fair of Tesla happened in 1893. It was in 1893 that Tesla lit up the world with power from Niagara Falls. He transmitted energy from Niagara Falls. He built the first hydroelectric dam or hydroelectric generator, capturing the energy of the water falling over Niagara Falls into his hydroelectric generator, transmitted that electricity from Niagara Falls to the New York World Fair in 1893, and it changed the world. It changed the entire direction of electricity in the world. And that was when Westinghouse was backing him. But that was when Westinghouse was figuring he was making lots of money and he was going to make it. Problem was that Tesla wanted to make it free to the world.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
And that's when they destroyed him.
The Tesla cage.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Faraday cage. There we go.
Faraday cage, yeah.
Yeah, Faraday cage.
Mm-hmm. That's what kept him from getting fucking electrocuted.
Yeah. So Faraday cage was used by Tesla, but Faraday is the one who created it.
That's right.
Right? Yeah, okay. I remember having a debate with a teacher of mine about the Faraday cage and how a lot of the wires that we use, they essentially have a Faraday cage around them. It's that mesh that goes around all the wires to keep them from interfering with each other.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember having a debate with a teacher of mine about how Faraday is the one who designed it and who created that whole idea. And he's like, oh, no, so-and-so did. And that person perfected it about 10 years later.
Yeah. No, Faraday.
It's interesting how these things happen.
It is. It's very interesting how it all happens. How it comes together.
And how we wind up remembering them.
Mm-hmm. But it takes a while. You have to drill down to the information to get to the real information. And then you're up against people who believe another way. And there's nothing you can say or do that causes them to remember it.
One thing I'm really happy about is a bunch of museums still actually have some truth to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little worried about when the modern day belief system is going to take over the museums, the ones that have the truth in them still.
Yeah, they'll take over the big ones first. What's interesting is one of the reasons I like traveling around to small towns. Anytime I go small town traveling, I always stop in the small town museums. I always do.
How come?
Because they have such fascinating truth in them. They have not only the history of the little small town that they're in, but they've gathered history from across the globe and they tell the truth about it.
Oh, cool. I've never been to a small town museum.
I did that last summer or the summer before. I think it was last summer I did that. Last summer. No, last summer before, not 2019. I did that in 2019. I traveled up island. I went up island for an entire 3-day trip because I just needed to get away and go enjoy myself. And I stopped in small little towns all over the island. And every one of them has its own museum.
Neat.
They all have their own little small museum, and you drive by them, and they're usually on their main strip. And as soon as I saw the museum, I was like, pull over, and I go walk in the museum, walk through the museum, see the museum. Like one of them, I can't remember the town, but one of them, the museum is inside their old town power plant, what used to be the power
neat.
plant for the city, and they preserved the original power generation system.
That's cool.
Which means if shit hits the fan for that small town, they can just clip the wires to the rest of the fucking island, fire up the generator, and run the power out of their power plant back to their town.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's like, I don't think they realize that yet. But it's like, wow, that's just cool. And I mean, look at it, it's like in pristine condition. They've maintained it, kept it clean, and they also showcase, like, these museums have radios. Like some of them had radios going back to the 1800s. You know,
that's cool.
All the way down to the telegraph system and everything. And it's like that sort of technology could be massively needed you've listened to the book 1 second after.
Yeah.
You know, if you listen to all 3 books, then you know that at one point, if we got hit with a massive EMP, we're slapped back to the 1800s in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
We're just bang back to the 1800s because, you know, you can't fix the modern technology, and nobody knows how to run 1800 technology anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
You can't even get an 8-track player fixed these days.
No, you're kind of screwed there. But that's the whole point. Is like by having this stuff preserved in small towns, those small towns will be the first ones to come back online and move forward towards a modern age.
Mm-hmm.
Because they will have the ability to get their technology online first, because that technology will not be impacted by an EMP. Because it doesn't contain computerized components which are susceptible to an EMP.
It's really cool to think about.
So that's one of the reasons for moving to a small town.
I just want to move to a small town to get away from all the people.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to do. I want to get the hell out of this freaking... granted, we live in a big little city, but it's still a city.
Yeah, it feels a lot more like Vancouver did when I was a kid.
It's closer to what Vancouver was about 30 years ago, yes.
And I hated Vancouver.
Yeah, it's like never one of my favorite places. But yeah, that's where it's at now. It's close to what Vancouver was 30 years ago. Yeah, I've got to get out of here, but I'm stuck here for another 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
After that, I'm gone off to a small little town. I haven't checked out the museum there in where I'm headed yet. I'm going to check out the museum in that town because they got one too. I got to go see what it looks like.
Cool.
Every one of them, like you can go out to Souk, they have a museum. Everybody, they all have museums. Even where we were when we looked at property last year.
Yeah, but their museum was closed.
Yes, I know, but they had a museum. Think about it.
Yeah.
That was a community of what, 400 people?
If that.
Yeah, and they had a museum.
It's actually pretty cool.
You know, they exist everywhere. They're community run. You know, and they're usually trying to preserve the history of their community, is what it is. And so I really wish it had been open. I would have gone through it. We just chose the wrong day to go.
Maybe what I should do is I should just hop into or go and buy myself a friggin' RV and just live in that. Check the kids around, take them all to the museums.
A ravine?
RV.
Oh, RV. I heard ravine for some reason. Okay.
Ravine.
Yeah, so don't ask me. You're the one that's talking.
That would be hard to drive around in a ravine.
It would be. It would be very hard to drive around in a ravine. All right, well, let's see. We got anything else we're gonna do here? We'll be moving towards wrapping up. Let's wander into the bee real quick and see what the bee has for us. Oh, this is not the
That
bee.
one's always fun.
Let's go check out Not the Bee. Let's see what true actual stories. Oh, this was funny. One of my boys came to me and said, "Did you know there's a Women's History Month?" I said, "Really? When?" Is it this month? It's Women's History Month. I said, "Oh,
really?
So when did they have Men's History Month?"
That's a good question. I had no idea they had a Women's History Month.
Yeah, but it's Wimexons. Wimexen's History Month.
Women's?
Well, that's because they can't.
I thought that was a typo.
No, that's what that's what the feminists call women now. They're Wimexen. Because you can't have an Ian. They can't be a men and women.
I thought we had the Y chromosome, not the X chromosome.
No, but they call it Wimwykins. I don't know, but they put Wimexens in there. But that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that aspect of it. That's an interesting aspect of it, is because you got to have the Y chromosome, but not the X chromosome.
Yeah. Wouldn't it have made more sense to put a Y there?
Well, probably would have been, but they chose Wimexen.
Weird. So weird. So the tweet offended both men and women.
Yeah, well, that's nice. When they put out Wimexens.
And wannabe women.
And wannabe women. I'll use a word that acknowledges the shortcoming of gender binary language after hearing directly from you, including members of the LGBTQIA+++.
Freaking long is that thing now? I want to say anagram, but I can't remember. I don't remember if that's
longer,
the right word.
It's longer than that. That doesn't even have all the letters in it yet. It's missing the LGBTQIA, DOM and other stuff in there. I forget what it is. There's a whole lot of letters they're missing.
Man, when I was a teenager and I was fighting for equal rights, equal, mind you, I started an LBG.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. And it got you in shitloads of trouble in high school.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It got you thrown out of high school. It got you thrown out of high school, actually, and you had to go to a special school.
No, that was different. That was because I had political cartooning issue.
Well, I thought that was part of it.
They didn't like my attitude. I was too outspoken.
Wow.
Questioned everyone. Had no respect,
Can't imagine that. Where the hell would you get such an attitude like that?
I can't bloody well imagine. Oh my goodness. So weird.
Here's a great one. Women creates modern gender theory in 59 seconds flat with a flamethrower and scatters stupid ashes to the wind.
What?
Woman cremates modern gender theory in 59 seconds flat with a flamethrower and scatters its stupid ashes into the wind.
Yeah, I understood the words. I just don't understand what she actually burned.
Oh, I don't know.
Torch the internet with the truth. Okay, so it's more metaphorical.
Let's address the gender spectrum debate from as many angles as we can in 60 seconds. Let's go. If you're a man or a woman who identifies as anything other than a man or a woman, that is totally your right. It is not then your right to step on my free speech and tell me what I'm obligated to call you. And as the gender spectrum debate rises, so is legislation that is labeling misgendering as a hate crime. 2, I fundamentally believe that we are all men and women. That is human nature. That is biology. I do not placate to those who don't believe in science. Thirdly, as the gender spectrum ideology is rising, it is rising in our public schooling systems, meaning that young boys and girls are being exposed to this ideology, which is causing psychological harm to them and making them confused as to what gender they are. 4, for the lefties out there, if a man identifying as a woman is a real woman, does he share your patriarchal oppression or your womanhood? Does he get to compete in women's sports and kick your butt like they're doing right now? 5, as we normalize all this gender identification, we're normalizing predators being able to go into whatever bathroom that they want and letting our whole society fall victim to their depravity. So no, it's not just about a little box that you check when you're going to university and they ask what gender you are. These are fundamental changes that are being made to our society and everything that has ever been true. Let's address the gender spectrum debate from as many angles as we can.
Okay, that's enough. We don't want to hear it and repeat.
I like her.
That was entertaining. I like the part about,
yeah.
Does he get to kick your ass?
Like they currently are?
Yeah. Well, that's what's really, really quite entertaining to me is the transgender males who are just coming in there and wiping the floor with fucking females. And they tried
this
to...
may sound...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you good.
I was just going to say, the only reason why she can actually do this is because she's not a white girl.
Yes.
It's the only reason why she isn't being completely destroyed for doing this.
Yes, I know that. But
it's sad.
It's sad, but it's still nice to see.
It is very nice to see. Definitely.
Oh, wait a minute. This is too much. The Clint Eastwood co-star to Gran Torino wants to cancel it after 13 years after the fact. That was a good movie. Gran Torino, damn good movie. One of
Don't know it.
Clint Eastwood's better movies in his old age, as he got to be an old man. It's a good movie.
And
All
he
right.
wants to cancel it?
No, the co-star, the
Oh.
Mexican co-star. He wants to retroactively cancel film, calls it insensitive. Ooh. He's an Asian actor, but he played a Mexican. He didn't play an Asian in the film. The kind of opportunity an actor Jerry granted help contribute to anti-Asian sentiment, but he played a Mexican in it, I thought.
Maybe you're remembering wrong.
Maybe. I'll have to go watch it again. It's a good movie, though. I rather like the movie.
Must be a good movie. You can't barely remember it, but you know it was good.
Well, I remember it for the fact Clint Eastwood was living in a Mexican part of LA that was going down to shits, and someone tried to come steal his car, and he was a asshole that sat on his porch with a gun in his hand and was a real badass dude. And this poor kid here was suffering from stuff, and he befriended the kid. It's the typical story of a kid who's fatherless finds a man who mentors him.
Is willing to father him.
Yeah, mentor him. And it was a really good story line to go with it. That's what I remember about it.
Cool.
You know, it was a good movie, I thought. It was one of Eastwood's better movies in his latter years that he was doing movies. As he got to be a real old man and no longer the badass Dirty Harry guy or the fistful of dollars cowboy. So, oops.
So that was not the B, right?
That was not the B. Let's go pop into
right.
Babylon B and see what we got from the B itself. We got to pop into their main page for the B, though.
Guide to Being Woke.
Yeah, we've already covered that one in a previous show.
Yes, but still.
I know. Here we go. Kumo tries to divert attention from sex scandal by remind everyone of the nursing home scandal. Yeah, that would be about right now. It's funny when you think about it. It's like you hear about it from the No Agenda show, but it's like it's a typical thing. If you use the media to better yourself, it will come back at you like a fucking boomerang and take your head off.
Oh, yeah.
Which is basically what Kumo did during the pandemic. He used the media to boost himself up there, get himself an Oscar and everything, but now it's coming back to eat his fucking ass. I mean, there's a movie, Nick, the fuck's that guy that plays he's one of my favorite actors. I really like the movies he does, but I can't get his name in my head. He did a movie where he was a news reporter on a story, broke a really big story, suddenly became super famous, was able to suddenly run for city councilor, and then the news media came and ate him up for the things he'd done in his life that weren't so good.
That sounds about right.
It was a perfect example of using the media to get ahead, and the media coming back and eating you later to feed their own need for headlines. And that's what's happening now. Is Kumo's being used to feed their need for headlines because they don't have Trump to chew up anymore.
Cuomo assures public he always kept mask on while sexually harassing women.
The sad thing is you got to wonder how much truth there is. Oh, here we go. Can you find all 17 instances of racism from the Dr. Seuss book?
What?
Well, you did know they're canceling 6 Dr. Seuss books, right?
No, I did not.
Because
I'm glad I have them all.
They're racist, man.
All kind of makes sense. He did a lot of propaganda.
No, it doesn't matter. They're racist. The giant orange beast is obviously a reference to Donald Trump. This glorifies white supremacy and Nazism, as Seuss was alluding to his allegiance to the bad orange man.
What? I really hope this is just a joke.
Well, this is satire. This is the B.
Okay.
This is Babylon.
Okay.
This is the Babylon B. This is satire. Okay.
It's hard to tell.
I know. I know. It's really, really, we're in a really screwed up world when it's really hard to tell the difference between satire and non-satire. I know. Okay, well, let's start with the beginning of this article from the Babylon Bee. This is satire, folks. Keep this in mind, but it's really going to be hard to tell that it's satire. Racism is everywhere, but nowhere is racism more blatant than in the books of well-known racist Dr. Seuss. His pages were literally dripping with racism. Or maybe that was just the barbecue sauce for our chicken nuggies. Even so, barbecue sauce might be racist too, now that we think of it. Take this Dr. Seuss page out of the thinks. You can think. It looks harmless, yeah. Well, you're just showing your internalized racism, because there are literally 17 different examples of racism packed into this illustration. Come on a journey with us as we explore them all. Number 1, the giant orange beast is obviously a reference to Donald Trump. This glorifies white supremacy and schism, as Seuss was alluding to his allegiance to the bad orange man. I gotta be careful the words we say. They can get us banned on YouTube. What can I say?
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes I want to stay here as long as I can. Eventually, I'll be able to abandon this platform, but not right now. Mm-hmm. The pink boot squashing poor little dude glorifies fascism. A little too obvious there. Furo Seuss. Pink boots. The text implies it's okay to go to the right. Like, come on, man, in a children's book. And why is it? So many things. Go to the right. You can think about that until Saturday night. Zoom in on the tuba. Keep zooming in. It's a tiny skittler. Oh my goodness, hard to believe. Seuss snuck this one in past the editors. Yeah, that one's a bit much. The smoke coming from the machine glorifies the racist, classic hierarchies of capitalism that harm the environment and disproportionately people of color. Disproportionately people of color. And he made the smoke multiple colors. Just one more slap in the face of purple of color. The page is rectangular, encouraging readers to think inside the box of capitalist propaganda and not become woke to the struggle of the classes. Straight lines and boundaries are signs of non-wokeness. Plus, the shape is eerily similar to the shape of a schism flag. All right, I'm going to stop there.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. There's a nice teardown. They can find anything they want in there.
Oh yeah.
It's like you can find, if you dig hard enough into anything, you can find anything to be offended about. Really, to be all honesty.
I suppose, yeah. I think you kind of have to work hard to be offended by Dr. Seuss, though. I mean, really.
Yeah, well, they're running out of shit to be offended by.
True. I mean, honestly, I could see why they would go after Dr. Seuss, because he was the propaganda cartoonist for so long. But I mean, why wouldn't they just go after his propagandized cartoons rather than going after his books? The books were actually good.
Because his books are influencing the minds of young children. And we can't have anything but the leftist propaganda influencing the mind of young children. Come on, man. We've got to make sure we get the stuff in there for the young minds. Asians, Detroit is where the movie takes place. Oh, God, which movie was that?
The one that you were talking about.
Oh, which movie was that? I've already forgotten.
The one where you thought the fellow was playing a Mexican, but it turns out he was actually playing an Asian. Apparently, it takes place in Detroit.
Oh, I thought it was L.A.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Well, apparently Detroit and LA look very similar, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, they do look very similar, especially nowadays, although I think LA has more tents than Detroit.
I'm going to have to check out that movie.
Yeah,
check out again?
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino. Okay, yeah. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, it's about a car. It's about an old man, a car, and a kid. It's basically what it boils down to. and a coming-of-age story, and an old man who is trying to redeem himself. Even though he started out to be an asshole in the beginning of the movie, he redeems himself in the end. It's one of those stories. It's a really good story. I like it. I got the places wrong. I remembered it wrong, but I still remember the story correctly, I'm sure.
You know that something has made a serious impact on you when you don't remember the details, but you remember the message.
Mm-hmm. Well, the interesting thing is it's the message as old as time.
Oh, yeah.
It's similar
but
to...
it's how it's portrayed as to whether or not it's any good.
Yeah, well, it depends on how they tell the story. Because the message is there. It's the story that conveys the message, because the message is as old as time. It's like the message of the Matrix, which is the same message as the original Star Wars movie, you know, which is the what's the word I'm looking for? The young warrior who doesn't want to be the warrior.
It's even similar to Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's the same. It's Harry Potter.
The Reluctant Hero.
The Reluctant Hero. That's the story I'm looking for. The name I'm looking for. The Reluctant Hero. It's a story that is as old as mankind, and it's like the reason those books, those stories, those movies become successful because what they've done is they figured out a new way to tell the tale. Is all it is. They're just a new way to tell the tale of the reluctant hero, and it's a something that's it's built into our psyche, especially for men. It's built into men's psyches in particular. Because
I need to call it a night, Dad. I'm starting to yawn and.
Oh shit! It's almost 11. We've been at this a couple hours. All right. Well, let's wrap this. Let's wrap this party up and call it a night. Let's take us out of here with some really cool music. Thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate it. And for those of you that come back and listen later, we've had quite a few hits on it. Although for some reason, I'm still having troubles getting this fucking thing uploaded to BitChute.
BitChute?
Yeah, I upload it. Sometimes it loads and does, and then I have to go redo it. BitChute doesn't love me right now. I don't know.
Have you contacted them to see if there's something you're missing?
No, not yet. I keep wanting to, but usually I end up being sidetracked because I upload it and I walk off and start doing something else. I come back and hours later I go, oh yeah, I upload. Oh, it's not done. Oh, I still got something else to do. I'll deal with them later.
Understandable.
Well, let's move on out of here with a little bit of Days of Thunder and call it a night.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger,
There we go. Take care now. Bye bye.
Take care.
Adios, mofo.